Hello and welcome to today's episode of Business Basics. My special guest is Mike with Wooden Wheel Vineyards down in Southeast Iowa. Mike, it's great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Mike, a vineyard, back in the day, you really didn't think of Iowa as wine country, and we are seeing that changing and rapidly, right? Between wine and our small pop-up breweries that we're having, Iowa's making a name for itself.
Yes, and there's really a rich history there. Back in the early 1900s, we were the sixth largest grape producing state in the country. And,
Really?
Through prohibition and, some weather changes and then the advent of 2,4-D really kind of wiped that whole business out. But we really have seen a resurgence since the law, I think, was changed in 1996. And so we started from basically one or two wineries in the state. Now we have over 100.
That's fantastic. And so how long has Wooden Wheel been up and going?
We've been in business since 2010.
Okay.
So 10 going on 11 years.
And so 11 years, did you start off with scratch ground and started growing your vines then? Is that kind of how that starts?
Yes, and it's a very slow maturing crop. We planted our first vines in 2010, and then we took our first crop in the 2012 season.
I'm sorry, you broke up 2000 when?
12.
Okay, so 2 years there. Yeah,
3 growing seasons.
Yeah, and then how long does it take once you harvest that crop before you can actually put the bottles out for retail?
Well, it kind of depends on the wine that you're making. A white wine is better when it's fresher. A red wine is better as it ages. And so
Right.
White wines, we turn to white wine around in 2 months, 2.5, 3 months. Red wines we like to keep, and we barrel age red wines up to anywhere from 8 months to 2 years.
Okay, all right. And obviously this is something you've done prior to you didn't just wake up one morning and say, I think I'll own a vineyard.
Yeah, that was kind of like that. We actually owned an insurance agency, and we insured a winery. And
Okay.
One day our son came to us and said, hey, I'm too old to be working for my mom and dad, so I want to buy you guys out. So we looked at each other and said, okay, now what are we going to do? And because of our experience with the winery, and we took a year plus to make that transition with our son, we did the research and took the courses, and we had bought the farm for my dad back in the 70s. And so we came back in 2010 and planted grapes and started construction on an event center, and now here we are.
Excuse the pun, but you and your wife were ripe for a new business then.
Yeah, we were very much so. We really enjoy the fact that nobody calls up and complains about their insurance premium anymore.
Oh boy. I used to work in life insurance, Mike. I know exactly what you're talking about. That is, there's a lot more work than people realize when it comes to insurance.
Yes, sure. It's all customer service. Yep.
It certainly is. So you guys got this thing going. You're up, you're profitable, things are going well. So what is your distribution? How far out do you distribute your brand of wine?
Well, the interesting thing about the alcohol business is we have a lot of state rules and guidelines and federal rules, and we're all individually licensed through the state. And so in order for us to sell outside of the state, we'd have to go to that state and procure another license.
Okay.
So our territory, what we consider our prime territory, is from on the east side, the Mississippi River, and then we go as far west as, Jefferson, out in that area. Carroll is probably as far west as we go.
Yeah. And have you experienced the growth that you thought you were going to prior to COVID-19? Were you pretty much on track?
I would probably say that our track changed after we've been in it for a year or two, when we kind of withdrew some of our expectations and realized just you can make all the wine in the world, but you got to be able to sell it.
Right.
And so that's where we really had to address, how we were approaching our sales. One of the things we did in the year leading up to our opening is the wineries we looked at, successful wineries, had a secondary income stream. And so those successful wineries all had some sort of an event center or something to bring people out to them. And so part of what we did as from the very beginning is we took an old barn that my great-great-grandparents built in 1860 and turned that into a 4,000 square foot event center. And so we were able to have that income stream and then supplement that with the wine income. And so we're very comfortable with where we're going and the direction we're heading.
That's a smart business to do that. When I talk to commercial lenders at the bank, they always want to know the plan A, but also the plan B. What's the backup plan? And that's so true. Right. So then COVID-19 hit. That certainly impacted the barn rentals, correct? How else did that impact your business?
Yes. That was the biggest impact. We're used to renting the event center out 80 to 90 times a year, and we went from that to probably less than 20. Wow. We saw a minimum of the numbers right now look like a 50% drop in event center income. Wow. And so then that's the advantage of having that income stream use on that. And so we rolled on wine sale. People weren't coming here, but what we could see is that a lot of people were staying home, but they had stopped drinking. And so we focused on our wholesale operation and right. Then also our direct-to-consumer operation. And so that's where we've seen the biggest growth is in our direct-to-consumer, where we're shipping down into 40 some odd states. And we're doing more direct sales through festivals and those kinds of opportunities that are still out there.
That's great. And that should continue post-COVID-19, right?
Yeah, anything we do in those two areas are just going to be there. And then when we get the event center back going, we'll just be able to expand that as well.
That's great. So I imagine, has your staff also expanded over the years?
Yeah, interesting. We did. We just added another position, an event manager, so that as we get the event center back going, we want to hit the ground running. So we have someone here dedicated strictly to handling those operations and booking events and working with the people that come in to help service them. Yeah,
I mean, we should see a pent-up demand, I would think. Now that all the media is talking about the vaccine becoming available, I would hope here within the next few months or so, we start to see calls coming in for reservations again for the event center.
Yes, well, and most of the events, a lot of the events from last year to 2020 have been moved forward to 2021. So we've, I think 10 or 11 weddings from 2020 into 2021. So we're like booked, but kind of without the income. Most of those folks have already paid their rent. And so we're going to work through that. But then I think we have maybe 3 open Saturdays now for the prime wedding season going up in 2021.
That's great. That's great. And how do you market that event center? How do you determine which marketing vehicles work best for you?
It's interesting that I had no idea the wedding market is such a developed and focused market. There are any number of websites out there strictly for the promotion, the booking of wedding events, wedding sites. And so we participate, I'm going to guess maybe 6 different websites where people can go on, search for a wedding venue, find us, and then come to see us for their event. And our approach to that is we look at the wedding center or the wedding event operation as a way to bring people to us. So we're not really looking at it as a very large profit center. And so we kind of discount our pricing. Our whole goal is to bring people to us and let them buy our wine. And so we not only do we create more sales here, but hopefully we create a loyal customer as they go back home and then look for our wines in the store.
Right. I think, the term back in the day was a loss leader. We'd call that a loss leader. Yes. I've got some friends in the gas station market, and they recognized way back in the 50s that they're not going to make a lot of money on gas. So they created the convenience store concept. Again, get the gas to bring them there. But once they're there, now we can really show them what we do. It's important to do that. It's so important to be able to do that. So tell me, Mike. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say our event center really is our marketing program. It's how we market our wines.
Yeah. What a great way to do it. They're there. They're comfortable. They're sitting down. It's like,
yes.
Let's a little wine tasting while you're here. We'll give you something to do while you're here.
Exactly. Yep. Everybody's in a lot better mood when they go home.
Oh boy, but you better believe it. Do you want 1 case or 2? Exactly.
Exactly. Yep.
I love it. I love it. And then that repeat business that you've created, then you've captured their email. then you're able to market new things as they become available to that client base that you've established.
Right. And really the goal is to develop that as a repeat customer so they can go to their local grocery store or liquor store or whatever and, look for our wines and buy it off the shelf.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I mean, we like to visit with people. And as you know, with Action in the past, average dollar sale and repeat, how many times per year can we get our customers to buy from us, which is so true.
Exactly. Yeah. Inventory turnover.
Exactly right. So share with us, before I let you go, share with us, what's your business nugget as a business owner? Now, you were a business owner before this with insurance, but in the wine business for 10 years, what's the biggest learning that you want to share out with folks?
I think that probably what I've tried to get not only from this business, but from our prior business is that every time you do something, it's an opportunity not only to be successful, but because you're never really as successful as you want to be, but every thing that you do is a learning opportunity. So whether you're as successful or not as successful, or maybe it didn't go the way you want it to go, is to take something away from that. So we always look at everything we do as an opportunity to learn something new and to take that information then and make it our operation better as we go forward.
Boy, oh boy, truer words. I'm telling you what, sometimes business owners get all wrapped up that they had a failure. And I don't see failure as a failure. It's just a step forward, right?
Exactly. It's not a mistake as long as you can learn something.
Exactly. What was this thing? I think it was on Facebook last week. They said a winner is just one person who tried one more time.
Yes.
I got it. Yep. Well, I love that. Well, Mike, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Don't go away. I'll wrap this up and then we can visit a little bit more. But my special guest today was Mike with Wooden Wheel Vineyards down in Southeast Iowa. If you love wine, by all means, go online. Mike, what's your web address so we can share that out?
woodenwheelvineyards.com.
That's easy. That's the best way to do it. So look him up online. Mike, thanks again for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.